All right, we're back, everybody. Well, I think in an effort to produce a better quality product in the video stream, in the stream realm, I amped up the resolution from 640 by 360 to 1080 by 720, which I guess is your standard first rate of high definition. But evidently, it doesn't evidently want to play nice with everything else, and everything just crashed and dropped. So, pull it back, and we'll see how it goes the rest of the show. This is how I had been broadcasting. Not last week it worked fine, so I did have small communications with Kevin Bevington, who said, hey, expert advice. Might not want to go too big. A lot of things could happen. Also, one of those would be your output signal and bandwidth and blah, blah, blah. And wouldn't you know it? Okay. Hey, some of us are smart and some of us are not. I'm not smart. I'll try anything once, but when it goes bad, I'll never try it again. And here's what's happened. So we're back to normal broadcasting bandwidth and resolution and so forth, and we will press on from here. Once again, the show is really a non-video show. The show was put together to be just a radio show. Everybody remember that? Oh, I liked it so much better when there was no video component. Just go back. Next week, I'm just going to have the logo up here, and I'm not going to have any video whatsoever. It's going to be great. Won't have to shave or anything. Won't have to look nice. Rich mahogany walls can get taken down, all that stuff. Yeah, really, that's what happened, man. What happened? All right, Darren Warth, Iowa Smokey D's coming up out of the break. Folks, let me talk to you quickly about Cook Shack. Wait. I didn't throw that one out. Here we go. Fast Eddie's by Cook Shack. Pellet Grill is a smoker and grill all in one. It is a stainless steel 100% wood-burning pellet-fired cooker that uses direct and indirect heat up to 800 degrees. It is the only pellet grill on the market that uses charbroiler technology. It features electronically controlled temperature to eliminate large heat fluctuations that dry and shrink meat. A pellet grill can barbecue, grill, bake, roast, sear, and smoke. Cook Shack has two models of pellet grills to choose from. The PG-1000 features a fully insulated double-wall rolled hood for superior heat retention, fuel savings, and maximum cooking performance. The PG-500 features a two-way swing lid and utensil holder. The PG-500 and 1000 have many great features, including 784 square inches of cooking space, easy side-loading pellet hopper, fully automated wood pellet feeder system, stainless steel cooking grate on the direct zone side that produces killer-looking seal marks, nickel-plated grill on the indirect and top racks, drip bucket, pellet ashtray, 100% stainless steel construction, warming drawer, 40 pounds of Cook Shack hickory pellets, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. All for you to take advantage of. It is a versatile pellet cooker that adds full flavor to your recipes, including fajitas, ribs, chicken, steak, desserts, sides, and large cuts of meat. It can do it all, including cold smoking. Grilling with wood pellets penetrates the food with an intense smoky flavor. When you cook with wood pellets, the fuel is consistent and the smoke more flavorful. For recipes and how-to videos, check out Cook Shack's YouTube channel. More information can be found on their website devoted just to the pellet grills at pelletcooker.com. That's pelletcooker.com. Or you can call Cook Shack at 800-423-0698. That's 800-423-0698. Tell me what more information on the PG-500 and the PG-1000. Again, 100% stainless steel construction, warming drawer, 40 pounds of Cook Shack hickory pellets, and the 30-day money-back guarantee. That's the most important thing of all. Cook on it, try it, abuse it for 30 days. If you don't like it, if it doesn't meet your exacting standards, they will take it back. No other cooker is going to take it back after 30 days. Sorry, not going to happen. Pelletcooker.com for more information or call 800-423-0698. The good folks over at Cook Shack. Darren Warth, Iowa Smokey D's, coming up right out of the break. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Radio Network studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. 216-220-0966, Greg at the BBQCentralShow.com. This portion of the Barbecue Central Show brought to you by cookinpellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets. For all of your pellet-driven cookers, visit cookinpellets.com for more information or to purchase. You can also visit amazon.com to purchase as well. Anybody heard of amazon.com? Never. No, who are they? All right. Last weekend, one of the most sought-after contests took place, went down, came off, whatever adjective you like to describe it. And coming out ahead of all others, none other than Iowa's own Smokey D's pitmaster, Darren Warth, who happens to join me here on the show as well. Darren, how are you, buddy?
I'm great. How are you, Greg?
I'm doing absolutely fabulous, Darren. Appreciate you asking and, of course, making time for the show. Are you on your way back from the Jack Daniles? Are you already back? What's your logistics scene like?
No, we're already back, and the meat is already trimmed and on my way to Arizona tomorrow to be in Laughlin, Nevada by Thursday.
Wow. So you are going to be taking part in that, I guess, what is going to be a fairly substantial Laughlin-sized contest as well, right?
Yeah, I'm not even sure how many teams are there, but, it goes that if I don't keep cooking, I've got a honey-do list that's probably going to catch up to me, so I'm just going to keep cooking.
So you just plan on cooking for the next 30 years? Because I imagine if it's that big now, if you stop, it might never end.
That's exactly right.
Darren Warth, Iowa Smokey D's, joining me here on the show. All right, Darren, so let's go ahead and take a look back at this past weekend. The Jack Daniles is obviously one of the more interesting competitions for a number of different reasons, and it seems to be one of the 3 or 4 big competitions that, not only do every team want to try and win every year. That was horrible English. I apologize. But this seems to be one that a team would like to win before they hang it up or put out the fires or whatever phrase you want to say. So coming down with the grand championship for the Jack Daniles this year, I guess as a team, and you've been doing this for a long time, this isn't something that you've been doing for 1 or 2 years and now all of a sudden you've won the Jack. I mean, you've been at this competition thing for a number of years now, been very successful over a long period of time. So what does winning the Jack, I guess, mean to Iowa Smokey D's, to you and to Sherry?
Well, I mean, it's just crazy. It's just another notch in the bucket list. We've over the last 12 months, I've, with winning the Royal and winning the Kingsford Invitational and now winning the Jack, I kind of feel like I've won the Super Bowl, the World Series, and the Masters.
It's kind of like the Iowa Smokey D's Grand Slam, right?
The Grand Slam, the trifecta.
Yep. So if we look back at the contest itself this past weekend, how did you find well, let me ask you this question. How many times have you competed in the Jack so far?
We actually competed 5 of our first 6 years at the Jack. We've been competing for 12 years now. So we competed 5 of the first 6 years. We had 1 year in there, I think 2008, we didn't get a draw. And then we haven't gotten a draw, even though we've had 5 and 6 wins for the last 5 years. So, we hadn't been there in 5 years. So we were kind of excited to get back.
Is there anything to the mindset, when you have a drought or a draw drought, whether you're not winning the 7-0 to automatically qualify, or to have the number of wins that you have but still not get the bung pulled to go down for that particular year, to have a gap of time, does it renew any vigor to get down there and try and win where, you had guys like Chris Hart and Myron Mixon that went 10, 11, 12 years in a row, what have you, and it's like, geez, I'm here again. At some point, you're like, wow, I've made it 5 or 6 times in a row. And then all of a sudden, you're like, man, this is like my 9th or 10th year. I'm excited, but is it going to happen? Does having a break help you mentally at all think that you're going to be able to get over the hump and pull off a victory?
I'm not sure it put me in any different mental state of mind. It was one of those things that, the worst day of your life is when you don't get drawn for the jack, and that went on for a few years when you kind of became numb to it, and it's just you've got to be lucky to get into that contest. So, it's not about necessarily winning the jack. It's about even getting to go. It's special in its own way. If you put it up there, you got the American Royal, the Open and the Invitational, which to me are, you got a lot more competition there because every champion can go there. Whereas the jack, you had a lot of good teams sitting at home.
You've been a number of times. You've done everything there is to do probably down there, learned lessons along the way. Aside from the barbecue competition, when you get down to Lynchburg, what are some of your favorite things to do to enjoy your time there?
We really, like you said, we've been there enough times that when you pull into the holler the first time, it's so special, and you just have to take everything in. Our good friends David and Celeste from Blue Bloods, they were there for the first time, and we kind of watched through their eyes as they're going through and doing Miss Mary Bobos and doing the distillery tour and buying every T-shirt and knick-knack and every barrelhead and getting them signed and everything going along with getting to the jack. Since we've been there, done that, we did have a nice lunch at Miss Mary Bobos with Tuffy Stone and a bunch of other good folks on Thursday. But other than that, we didn't do a lot. We were there to barbecue.
Getting to the jack once, as you know, could lead to maybe never even getting back to the jack at all. So as a team, and maybe for the teams, Sterling Ball has said on any number of occasions on this show, the vast majority of competitors out there aren't doing 25, 35, 40 competitions a year. They're doing 5 or 10, some maybe in 15 to 20, but maybe no more than that. So their opportunity to get to the jack might not be, or you might not have as many chances, I guess you could say, on a year-to-year basis. So if you make it down there, is it almost like you have to run that risk of taking it all in because you might not get back there again? Or should you make that definitive decision going down that, hey, it's my first time, and I'm just going to go to win, and I'll kind of hold off all that other stuff to the side that I hear about, or vice versa, say, hey, I want to take the whole experience in. If I do well, I do well, but that's not going to be the motivating factor for me to enjoy this weekend. How do you see that, and how can you balance that?
Yeah, I think once you get there, your first time that you get to the jack, you have to take it all in. It's all about the experience. Like I said, there's nothing more special than pulling into the holler, for the first time. And you go to a contest that, you look at the amenities of a normal contest, and the water's kind of sketchy and the electric's kind of sketchy, but and normally it's muddy. We, of course, had beautiful weather this year. The conditions haven't always been the greatest, but it's still special, and you can go take in all the local sites and just what makes Lynchburg. So the first few times you go, it's a matter of, hey, you just hope to finish up there. You kind of hope that, hey, it's like the American Royal. You want to get your feet dirty at the American Royal. All you want to do is hear your name called at the jack.
All right, so when we look at the competition itself, Darren, you finish first overall. You finish with a score of 694, just shy of 695, so a fairly decent score, although this year we've seen plenty of 700s, 701s, 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s, for crying out loud. Overall, how did you feel about the cook, and I guess how did you feel about your turn-ins as well?
Yeah, we had a great cook, and we cooked so many times. It was our 33rd contest of the year. If we can't get good at it by then we probably ought to give it up. But, we had a really great cook. There wasn't anything at all. Our big thing is, what would you change about the cook? And there just wasn't anything that we would have changed after it went to the judges. But we know with all the celebrity judges, and this year the addition, there was a lot of cooks judging there. Past world champions were judging there, and just all these people that you're going, I can't believe, it used to be all celebrity. It's just a big luck of the draw, so you just kind of, turn in your best stuff and cross your fingers and see what comes out.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you say you've cooked 33 times or whatever it was, and if you're not hitting on all cylinders at this point, then, what are you going to do? But the judging is a little bit different than you would normally find in a lot of different competitions. But was it somewhat encouraging to you to see a lot more judges than it would be to have the, I guess, what you would consider untrained or non-experienced palates that you've seen in years past?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't play much into that. I don't play into that much. I know a lot of people when they show up to the contest, they're all worried about how many percentage of certified judges they're going to have and that stuff. I'm not sure how that really matters. It truly becomes, are you hitting that right table? And what happened, we saw a lot of good teams as we come down the stretch there that had two really nice calls that, I figured it was between 5 or 6 people going to win this thing. And we weren't one of them at that point. Start getting called for 10th place and 8th place and 6th place and whatever. And it got down to 3 places, and when they called Truebud, my wife looked at me and goes, "Who has this one?" And I looked at her and I said, "We do, honey. Don't worry about it." And we both laughed about it. We both laughed. But in the meantime, I had taken my 3rd place brisket trophy and I had handed it to my sister. I had my sister, 2 sisters, and my mom with me. And I handed it to her and she goes, "What do you want me to do with this?" And I said, "I just don't want Sherry to break this. Just hold on to it." Well, then afterwards we kind of laughed because she says, "You knew you were going to win. You handed me the trophy to get it out of the way." And I said, "That was exactly what I did."
Yeah, you knew it was coming, right?
I just had this feeling. I just had this feeling when Truebud got called for 3rd, that was the last team with 2 calls. I started coming back and saying, "You know what? We've got a 3rd place brisket, but we had a really good cook. We've been consistent all year long in the top 10. I just thought we had a great chance."
So you get the overall call for Grand Champion. You've won the American Royal Open, as you mentioned, last year. You won the Kingsford Invitational last year as well. Now you're a Jack Daniles World Champion. Do you have any kind of rank on these 3 and how you see them? And it doesn't necessarily have to mean one is better than the other, but since you've been doing it for 12 years, do you have a rank for how you stack these up against each other, competition to competition to competition?
Well, yeah, I mean, no disrespect to the Jack, but when I look at the American Royal win, and you look at the number of teams that are in there and the top teams in the country that are at the American Royal, there was only a handful in the top, 25 or 50 that weren't there. To me, as far as tough contest, the American Royal seems to be a lot tougher, and you got to be a lot luckier because there's 500 plus teams there. The Kingsford Invitational was just special. It was just the backdrop of New York City. You're dealing with, past winners and stuff. But nothing really beats the stage experience of getting your name called at the Jack. I mean, it's an experience that lasts for 30 and 40 minutes, with all the paparazzi there and all the foreign teams and international teams and stuff. It's amazing. It's just mind-boggling.
So does winning this, and for the people that don't know, Darren, obviously very successful restaurateur as well in the Des Moines area with the Iowa Smokey D's restaurants. Do you see any pop in receipts over the weekend or this coming week or anything like that, or is it one doesn't necessarily correlate with the other at this point?
Oh no, they definitely correlate. I was in the restaurant tonight trimming meat, and I mean, for a Tuesday night, which should be a normally pretty slow night in the restaurant business across the board, we had a pretty packed house, so I mean, we've got a lot of customers that are big fans of barbecue, and they're waiting to hear, and they're calling, "Hey, what's going on?" I mean, today I got a call from the Iowa State football coach that we do a lot of catering for, and he was just ecstatic that he had just saw, because, of course we had some, we were on the news yesterday and we were on the second page of the Des Moines Register today. And so there's a lot of, that whole press thing comes out and draws a lot of attention to the restaurant and brings people in.
Do you feel a obligation to be in the restaurants and to be available to do all this media? Do you think that's part that goes along with the winning?
Right after, I think the customers understand. Customers don't see me a lot. especially during the competition season. We've got a great staff that just, they treat that restaurant like it's their own, and I tell them, that it is their own. And they just kind of handle stuff. And so we're able to do a lot of things that most people aren't going to have, that are able to do, that really have a job. And, I don't feel like I have a job. And, I'm there to lead the team, and I do a lot of work on the road, talking back and forth with vendors and stuff like that. But as far as the day-to-day operations, it's one that I can just walk away from at any time and really not be bothered.
So you're going to be doing Laughlin this coming weekend. We're, oddly enough, coming rapidly to the end of the year. How many more competitions do you see Iowa Smokey D's competing in before you hang it up for this year?
I think I'm flying solo this weekend in Laughlin. Sherry's going to take the week off and stay home and do some stuff with our daughter. So I'm going to do that. I'll be back on the next week from tonight, and then start prepping for a doubleheader down in St. James, Missouri, which we'll leave for on Thursday. We're probably going to take a week off. We may fly down to Plant City, Florida. It's one of our favorite contests. And then after that, we'll probably be off for a couple weeks, I would imagine. And then we're off to the King of the Smoker, which is out in La Quinta, which is, our next bucket list item.
What are your what do the kids think of competition barbecue, Darren?
What's my daughter think?
Yeah, what's she think? She think like you're crazy going around all the country doing like cooking barbecue? Is she in it? Does she have any type of do you see any type of a desire for her to want to get into that at some point?
No. I mean, she used to be with us every weekend, until she turned about 16, and then she really didn't have a lot of interest in it. She was on the edge because, of course now she has a real-time job, so she was thinking about taking off her job and coming down to the Jack, and she's kind of kicking herself for not doing that. But no, she doesn't really have much to do with, she's not in the restaurant. I really didn't want her to be in the restaurant business. She's a graphic designer. So, she's happy when we come home. But anymore, we're gone so much that she doesn't complain too much when we're gone either.
So you got King of the Smokers coming up end of the year. Obviously, you are a Big Papa Elite team as well. Are you surprised that this West Coast offense, I mean, it's really kind of taken over flavor profiles. A lot of the teams out there, whether they're top teams or not, are using some form or fashion of a West Coast offense. Are you surprised, as someone who has used different flavor profiles over the years, how much of a stronghold this thing has taken on over the last year and a half or so?
It really doesn't surprise me so much. I mean, it's great. This stuff is great. I mean, I used to go back, and I still use some Smoking Guns Hot in my flavor profile, but it used to be in the olden days, I'll call it, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, it was Smoking Guns Hot and Head Country, maybe a little Cimarron Docks in there, and it was Blues Hog and Head Country for sauce, and that was it. And now Sterling has just come up with it, and Stephen Franklin, with the whole Simply Marvelous thing. They've got some really great stuff that matches not only in competition barbecue, but I don't have any other spices in my spice cabinet at home. I mean, everything is just absolutely wonderful, and it's done great, and there's some great new sauces out there too. I was just going back and forth with Rub from Swamp Boys Barbecue. I mean, that's a sauce that has hit the market running. I mean, it's in our profile. We love it. It's just crazy. I'm finding myself, instead of mixing 5, 6, 7 sauces together to come up with something, I'm dumping sauces right out of the bottle.
To me, rubs are one thing, I guess, but sauces are literally a dime a dozen. You can go to a grocery store or anywhere and find 50, 60, 70 sauces on the shelf at any given point. So to get into the market, as Rub has, and to hit so huge, so quickly, kind of maybe unsuspecting, but I probably goes to show the quality of the product, and you've been around sauces for a number of years. I mean, what speaks to you about this sauce being so good? Well,
it just, his sauce really has and I don't want to compare it to Blues Hog, but that's kind of the standard in the market. That's the standard in the competition market. I mean, you're gonna find that in almost everybody's toolbox that's there, but it kind of gives you less of a twang to it. It's a lot thinner sauce. It's just amazing flavor, and I just love the idea that I can just take that sauce and dump it right out of the bottle onto food and turn it in and win.
Darren Warth, Iowa Smokey D's pitmaster, the now reigning 2014 Jack Daniles champ, and will be heading to Laughlin. So everybody out there, beware. He's coming for 2 weeks in a row of wins. Darren, always appreciate the time, man. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks, Greg.
You got it. There he is. Darren Warth, Iowa Smokey D's. Jack Daniles Open winner. Kingsford Invitational winner, both last year, and now your 2014 Jack Daniles champion. Where, if you were Darren, where do you rank those wins if you were him? Which one would you hold most dear? Interesting question. I'll look for some reaction in the chat. Hit me up if you're listening to the podcast on email. Let me know. You were a competitive BBQ'er. You won the American Royal Open, the Jack Daniles, and the Kingsford Invitational. Which one would mean the most to you? How would you rank them, 1, 2, and 3? If you didn't know right now, Big Papa Smokers is the one-stop shop for anyone interested in barbecue, featuring a comprehensive selection of all American-made grills, spices, sauces, accessories, even a kit that gives you everything you need to make world-class smoker out of a 55-gallon drum. Big Papa Smokers has made a name for itself by making an award-winning line of championship rubs. The rubs have won almost every major competition barbecue event, including the 2012 and 13 World Series of Barbecue in Kansas City, the 2012 and now 2014 Jack Daniles Invitational, 2013 Kingsford Challenge, as we just learned about, and the 2014 Houston Livestock and Rodeo. Many more to come. Absolutely. Big Papa Smokers has also banded together with fellow California-based rub company Simply Marvelous Barbecue to put what has now become the West Coast offense. Defying conventional wisdom, these two California-based rub makers have cornered the market on competitive barbecue and begun to redefine the flavor profile that competitive cooks from across the country have begun to aim for. They've even created 2 of their own unique competitions. The King of the Smoker, which Darren just referenced in the last segment, that brings the best of barbecue in a head-to-head back-to-basics style competition. King of the Smoker unique in the fact that contestants may not use any electric devices, such as pellet cookers or pit minders. Contestants only allowed to use charcoal, wood, and their wits to win one of the most high-stakes barbecue competitions around. The other competition that Big Papa Smokers has started is known as the Guinea Pig, which is a cost-controlled competition that helps to bring in newcomers to the competitive barbecue world. It also features prize distribution all the way down to 10th place in each category. That helps provide incentive to get new competitors into the world of barbecue. Top of all of that, Big Papa Smokers created a unique brand ambassador program called the BPS Elite Team, featuring 15 of the best competitions in the country working together to promote camaraderie, competition barbecue, and, most importantly, to benefit children's charities across the United States. Keep in mind, Big Papa Smokers has been able to do all of this within only 4 years of being in business, turning the competition barbecue world on its head, creating their own unique competitions, becoming a staple of a nationwide restaurant chain, and benefiting children's charities from across the U.S. Just the beginning for Big Papa Smokers. The website, bigpapasmokers.com. That's bigpapasmokers.com. Thanks Sterling Ball and the gang out there for their support of the show. Appreciate them. Support him. Them. bigpapasmokers.com. Hood him up. Get the West Coast offense going. We are back with Mike Richter to give his take on Reserve Grand Championship honors right after this.
Get in the smoke. Call 877-448-0433 to get on the air. Now, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Thanks again to Darren Warth from Iowa Smokey D's. I was trying to find Mike Richter's number. I apologize. Sorry! Sometimes you don't have it all in the box. All right, so Darren Warth is your grand champion. What's next to grand champion? Of course, it is the reserve grand champion of the 2014 Jack Daniles BBQ competition world champion. Chip, Mike Richter joins us on the show again. Mike, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing absolutely fabulous, Mike. Appreciate you making time for yet a second appearance in as many weeks. Last week we were talking about your really overall domination of Southern Ohio in the Ohio Smoked Meats Festival and kind of catapulting you into a good feeling of getting down to Lynchburg and, really had a tremendous showing as well. Are you surprised you dominate Ohio one week, you come right back around and almost take grand championship honors at Jack Daniles? Are you surprised you're cooking this well, or are you expecting it at this point?
Well, it's been pretty good. I guess I was a little surprised because I thought maybe we'd used up all our luck, in Ohio. But the food, we were happy with everything we cooked.
At this point, how many competitions have you cooked this year, Mike?
I should know that. I don't know, 20-some. All
right. So, cooking a wide swath more than the majority of cooks that are out there right now. So, at 20 plus, probably approaching 30, does luck have anything to do with, look, we're not talking about tables. That's a whole different thing, right? But when we're talking about process and what you're doing weekend in and weekend out, does luck have anything to do with it at this point, or are you just locked in and it's business no matter where you're at?
Oh, I think there's always a little bit of luck involved because I'm a believer in it. When you're cooking almost every weekend, things do tend to fit together well. Tuffy's one to always say you have to be able to deal with catastrophe. And it always seems like there's some kind of hiccup that comes along. This last weekend, there wasn't. This was the nicest weather I've ever seen in Lynchburg for the Jack. It was awesome.
How many times have you been down there, Mike?
This was our fourth time, I believe.
All right, and best finish to date, then?
Yes. With prior to today, 6 was our best. So, yes, prior to this past weekend.
All right, yeah, bettering by 4 positions. When you look back over the weekend, Mike, aside from the weather, how did the cooks go? How did you feel that your turn-ins were stacking up? I guess maybe if you could, how did you feel your turn-ins were this week compared to the week before where you won 3 out of 4 categories?
That's a tough question. I actually thought our brisket was better. And I thought our ribs were better in Nelsonville. Shows you how much we know, because that's not how they scored. But I was pleased with everything that we turned in. I wasn't ashamed of anything. It was a good cook.
I just had Darren Warth from Iowa Smokey D's on, the grand champion, and we were talking a little bit about the fact that this year there seemed to be noticeably more cooks in the judging tent, where in years past it had been widely stacked with food journalists or bloggers or celebrities, people that you don't normally associate a experienced competition barbecue palate to be judging the barbecue turn-ins or the meat turn-ins. This year he said, man, I noticed there were more judges, or not judges, but there were more cooks in the judging tent. Did you find the same thing, and how does that make you feel as a competitor when you can see kind of the faces that you see on a weekend in, weekend out basis in the tent?
Well, it makes you feel good. There's some of the, a good amount of the judges were cook teams. There were several teams that were not competing, that were previous champions, were serving as judges. I guess for them to like your food is pretty awesome. That's pretty cool. And I think they also appreciate what everybody does maybe a little bit more than, there's always those folks that say the judges need to cook with teams and everything else. And I don't know, we want to get into all that right now. But I don't know, I guess they appreciated more of what the teams are going through. I mean, I don't know. The scores were pretty high. There wasn't the 700s, but there were good scores. I mean, our chicken was 46 with a 160 something. So that's a pretty good score.
Mike Richter from Chix, Swine and Bovine joining us here on the show, recounting his Reserve Grand Championship take at the Jack Daniles this past weekend. Mike, you've been down there a number of times. When you remember the first time you got down there and then when you settled into the holler this past weekend, what have you learned down there, and what do you make a point to do maybe every time you're down there, and what have you done once and been like, yeah, done that, not going to do it again, let's focus on something else?
Well, I'm a big fan of Miss Mary Bobo's. That's a local tradition. It's a restaurant there that dates back, the building dates back pre-Civil War. Actually, Lynchburg does it, and everything was there. So you go in there and you listen to, there's like a hostess for each group that goes in, and they, go over the history, and it's just very interesting. One of the things that I no longer do, I don't go on the hill. I try to, not that I won't go back up, but you're there, and it's such a huge contest. I don't want to go on Friday night and have a couple drinks and then think, well, I'll be okay. I can have a couple more and then mess up my cook. So I choose not to go back up on top of the hill on Friday. This year, my wife actually, before we left Ohio, she had hurt her back, and we're not quite sure what happened. But Scott Nelson from Pigskin,
yep,
who is a chiropractor by trade,
yep,
got her through the weekend. He came over and helped get some adjustments for her. She was in pain. She was at the doctor today, and we're going again tomorrow, but we're hopefully seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. But had Scott not come by and helped, I just don't know what we would have done. Once again, barbecue folks are the best. What can we do to help? He's asking how she is, checking on her all the time. I mean, it's a wonderful group of people.
Absolutely. So where does the Reserve Grand Championship at Jack Daniels this past weekend rank in, I guess, not only this year, but, maybe it's not the Grand Champion that you were shooting for, obviously, but where does this rank in all the other wins and great finishes that you've had over the years, Mike?
Well, it's a big deal. It's a huge deal. Would I have liked to have won? Absolutely. I was real happy that Darren and Sherry won. At least, if you're not going to win, you want your friends to win, and that was the case. But finishing as reserve is still a huge honor for us, anyway. It's just such a big deal to be able to get invited down there, because it's you got to go through everything to get there. It's very special.
Mike, when you left Lynchburg, do you have more competitions in the chamber for the rest of the year, or was that it for you guys?
Well, we're trying to figure that out. We'll be in Shelby, North Carolina, Thursday morning. And then we've cooked coming every year they've had coming. I like Plant City. We cooked Demopolis for like the last 5 years, that's traditionally our last contest of the year, which is the first week in December. I think we're going to probably not do some of those this year just because I want to get these houses sold, and there's some work I need to do before that can happen. And so I think we need to take the time off and get focused on getting this house ready for the market, get it sold, get out of Maryland and get where it's warm. I want to go live south.
Do you have a target for new Chix, Swine and Bovine headquarters? Would you like to get, as far south as Florida, or would you like to stay a little bit more north at in the Carolinas or the Georgia area?
We're going to end up in Pensacola, somewhere around that area, or something, somewhere right on the panhandle of Florida. So if a storm comes, you can pack up and leave. I really do like the area.
Do you have a targeted amount of competitions that you might see in 2015, or is that something that you and your wife will evaluate after you've done the last competition and might have had a few weeks off to decompress and get that energy to look at 2015 calendar?
Oh, I'm just in it'll probably be somewhere between 25 and 30 when it's all said and done. We're probably going to end up doing a class here in Maryland before we move. We've got a lot of friends up here that have been asking for a long time, and we'll probably do that before we do pack up and move. I'm still going to compete up here in this area because there are so many good friends up here, and there's some great organizers and some great contests. So we're still going to do some of the contests we've done for years. One, to help support them, to keep them going, and two, it's, there's camaraderie with the people that live here. We've got, there's a young man that we've kind of adopted, or he's adopted us, however you want to look at it, that has some significant health issues that lives here in Maryland, that we're not going to move and not still stay in touch and see him. So we'll be back up this way, but we'll just get a chance to see more of our southern friends. And I opened up a facility when I was working in Pensacola and just really fell in love with the area.
And probably much better winters, even though it can get a little chilly there still, but nothing nearly as bad. Mike Richter from Chix, Swine and Bovine, your 2014 Jack Daniles Reserve Grand Champion, having quite a great year, and especially the last 2 weeks. Mike, always appreciate the time, and we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
All right, you have a great one.
All right, you too. There he is, Mike Richter, Chix, Swine and Bovine. Won 3 categories in Southern Ohio, Nelsonville to be exact. Won 3 of 4. Then turned around a week later and took Reserve Grand Championship at the Jack. Yeah, that's a pretty good 2 weeks. Yeah, that's pretty good 2 weeks. Folks, a public service announcement to all the barbecue brothers and sisters from one of your show sponsors, Stephen DeFranco of Stephen DeFranco Jewelers. Also a self-proclaimed barbecue junkie, and he's not afraid to say it. He'll say it out loud, swinging from the rooftop. Christmas is coming. That's right. Believe it or not, 2014 rapidly coming to a close. I said that back in February. Y'all was laughing at me. Yo, you don't know nothing, Reppy. 2014 coming to a close. It is. Next weekend, this coming weekend will be November 1st. Suck it. Rapidly coming to a close. Christmas is next. Don't do the bullcrap gifts that you always get. No new clothes, no crappy ties, no liquid smoke flavored barbecue sauces or anything like that. No. How about watches? Like Bulova watches. Why spend a ton of money on one if you don't have to? Steve makes it easy. You're not going into the big box stores. You're not going to be dealing with some punk ass, the bad suit on, looking to jam commission money into his pocket because you've told him what your budget is and what you're looking for cut-wise. He's like, yeah, I see you more in this. I see you more in this rig because, you know, it's what I want you to buy. That's not going to happen at Steve's place. You're going to call him at 440-943-2700. You can also visit him on the web, stevendefranco.com. You guys are going to start a journey together once you talk to Steve. You ask for him on the phone. He's like, hey, I live in Florida. I live in Texas. I live in L.A. Rempe says for me to call you, so I've finally broken down. I'm going to call you. And he says, hey, let's have a conversation. What are you looking for? What kind of emotions are you trying to convey? What's your budget? Do you really want to spend that much? Do you want to spend more? Do you want to spend less? Here are some ideas. For a wedding ring, an engagement ring superstore. They got a whole bunch of stuff that you're not going to find at a lot of these big box jewelry stores. Plus, you're going to get the personal time and attention you deserve. If you are in the Cleveland area, I highly suggest going in and visiting with Steve in person. But you can do it online as well and on the phone. He's going to take just as good of care of you on the phone, ship it to you for free, give you all the warranties, all that good stuff as you would if you were be able to visit in person. I only deal with Steve in person because I can, because I live here. 440-943-2700, stevendefranco.com. We're back to wrap the first hour right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
Welcome back, 216-220-0966, Greg at the BBQ Centralshow.com. A little bit earlier, I asked, how would you rank the Jack, the American Royal, and the Kingsford Invitational? Diane Me, Kingsford, Jack and Royal. Wow. Don G, American Royal, Jack and Kingsford Invitational. That's how I would rate it, by the way. Scott. Sylvie Curry, American Royal, over 500 teams, including the invitational teams. Jack, then Kingsford. Patrick Paquette, rejecting the premise. One is over the other. But to play the game, Jack first, American Royal second, Kingsford third. Kingsford not doing very well. Is there a Kingsford Invitational this year? Who knows? I have not heard, but I know somebody that I can talk to about that. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that maybe they're not doing it. I haven't heard anything about it. Maybe it's gonzo. Let me see if anybody else is in here. Vote Mike Richter and David Qualls for the KCBS Board of Directors, says Patrick Pete. Diane Me say Mike is riding the show karma, undoubtedly. All right. Beautiful. Mike, again, saying on the show, he said it last week, too, that he was going to be making a run down south. Out of here. Out of here! Second hour coming up, we have the 11 most haunted watering holes. Steven Reichlund's top 10 meat cities. Steve Ray will be coming up talking about the Jack Daniels from a media perspective. Your phone calls, your emails, 216-220-0966. Greg at the BBQ Centralshow.com. Your 2 bits of contact information. You can find out more about the show at thebbqcentralshow.com, like if you want to sponsor the show, and partner with me, give me all your money. I'm here to take it. Give you something in return. All right, we'll reload for the second hour. It's great. Lock in. Tell all your friends. Share it on the Twitters, the Face Twitters, the Bookvilles, all that stuff, the social medias. Get it going, ladies and gentlemen, because we're going to have a fun second hour. Your participation included. We might have a giveaway at the 10:35, depending on how things go with Steve. So stay tuned, lock in, let everybody know you're watching and enjoying the Barbecue Central show. We will be back in 35 seconds to a minute. Stick around.
This is Bobby Rempe from Cleveland, Ohio, and you're listening to Barbecue Central.
From my heart and from my hand, why don't people understand my intention?
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Fine, how you going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan. So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude.
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 54 wieners.
But listen, Lavernius, shake a face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Who? Top men.
All right, just like that, we are into the second hour, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, everybody. Good morning, everybody. You have found the Barbecue Central show. This is the show that talks about all things important in the world of barbecue and grilling. We do broadcast the show live and direct from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio. It is the barbecue capital of the North Coast, and I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday. Everything you want to find out about the show. The website, right there, thebbqcentralshow.com. Archives, links, sponsors, how to sponsor the show, stuff about me, pictures, some, not a lot. All that stuff can be found right there. Subscriptions to the web shows. You can get replays of this show or watch the live stream on Roku, which is an Internet Protocol television thing. You download the Outdoor Cooking Channel app on Roku, and boom, you're off and running. Number of different IP televisions as well have the Outdoor Cooking Channel app, so be sure to check those out if you're somebody that likes those type of things, the Internet Protocol television. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Stephen Reichland's top 10 meat cities in the United States. Let me go from 10 to 1. I should go from 10 to 1. All right. Number 10, the great city of North Carolina. Wait. That's a state. All right. It's not one city, but a whole state gone hog wild for pulled pork at such landmark barbecue joints as Lexington Barbecue in Lexington, Wilbur's in Goldsboro, the Skylight Inn in Ayden, the Pit in Raleigh, and the new Ed Mitchell in Durham. Number 9, believe it or not, Washington, D.C. Yeah. Never mind all the pork that gets generated by Congress. Don't miss the herb-smoked steaks at Del Campo and the spit-roasted whole lamb at Copnos. Number 8, Portland, Oregon. Portland, Oregon. You know who's from Portland, I think? No. Never mind. I'm not going to say it. I would have been wrong. Portland, Oregon, the Secreto at the Imperial Restaurant, the Asado Argentino at Ox Restaurant, the Pork Strami at Tails and Trotters. The Meatropolis on the Willamette River has become a carnivore's paradise. Number 7, the Windy City of Chicago, Illinois. Sure, they have landmark steakhouses to rival any in North America, but Chicago gets Stephen's vote for its unique Italian beef sandwich. Yes, if you want it with hot peppers. Number 6, a barbecue place called Kansas City, Missouri. John Russell's, Q39, the local pig joint, not to mention such local classics as Oklahoma Joe's. When it comes to barbecue, Kansas City still rules. Number 5. Gotta get dirty. Atlanta! If you don't believe me, sit at the bar at King and Duke and watch steaks, chops, and burgers roll off the monster wood-burning Inferno grill. Number 4. What do you think about number 4? Anybody? Brooklyn. No sleep. Hometown barbecue. Brisket Town. Fet Sow. Not to mention the legendary Peter Luger Steakhouse. Hey, my New York peeps in the instant chat room, has anybody been to Peter Luger's? Don G just signed off for the night. He's got to go to bed. I've heard on no less than 5 or 6 different accounts that Peter Luger serves their steak in like a deep dish plate, and it's like in butter soup. It's covered like in butter or something. Is that a myth? I've heard that from some reliable sources that it gets served up in an au jus, if you will. I know you will. Number 3, typically not known for meat, but according to Steven Reichland, Los Angeles. Usually one associates Los Angeles with vegetarians and vegans and non-meat eaters and people you can see through. Not just in the metaphorical. Never mind. The Italian steakhouse on Melrose, Ci Spacca, may serve the biggest steak in North America. The 4-inch thick, 50-ounce wood-fired grill, Costata alla Florentina. And that's just the beginning. Celebrities spend money on the best meat. Dude, 50-ounce wood-fired steak. I'm no genius, but I believe 18 ounces a pound? I mean, that's damn near a 3-pound steak, right? Holy love of Pete. Who's eating a 50-ounce steak? Patrick, just a steak for you? What? No way. 16 ounces per pound, yeah. Wow, that's right. So, just a shade shy of 4 pounds, like 3.7 pounds or something. 3.125 pounds, Rub. Thank you. Rub also playing mathematician tonight. Props on the sauce, Rub, by the way. Getting love from all over the country on that sauce. Could probably do shots of it from what I hear. Travis Clark is in the house, by the way. He wins a lot. Travis Clark wins a lot. Number 2 for the meat cities. You know where we're going here. Down south, down central Dallas, Texas. Just 2 words for you. The Brontosaurus ribs at the new Pecan Lodge in Deep Ellum. I know where Deep Ellum is. Where, oh where, is Steven Reichland's top meat city? Anyone? Anyone? You know it. You love it. Everybody would guess it if I gave you the option of guessing it, of course, and I just did. Boston? No. Sorry. Little place called Austin, Texas. As Steven puts it, where else do people start lining up at 8 a.m. at Franklin or Le Barbecue? Kraft Meats and other great barbecue joints that won't open until 11. Doesn't anyone in Austin have a job? Yeah, my job's to stand in line. Rub says his barbecue sauce goes great in Bloody Marys as well. I've never been a big Bloody Mary fan. Maybe because I don't usually wake up with a hangover. Don't need the hair of the dog on this guy. All right, where was my next list? 11 haunted watering holes. Here's your haunted watering hole list. Number 11. George Martin Strip Steak, Great River, New York. Alongside the celebrations, drinking, and dancing, there were also accounts of theft, murder, and debauchery. You know me, I love decadence and debauchery. That's right. Yeah, I love it. Decadence and debauchery, I'm all about it. I would love it. How about Lons, the Hermosa Inn in Scottsdale, Arizona? The spirits of Lons at the Hermosa are quite active, but always friendly, says the director of food and beverage. Then you have May Bailey's Place in Dauphin Orleans Hotel. Jeez, oh, Pete. That's in New Orleans, by the way. There is a Cortesian bartendress who haunts the bar. And the long-time history and tradition has it that she frequently moves around the bottles to her own liking. Yeah, that's because she's a ghost alcoholic, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, all right. How about the Hotel Monteleone in New Orleans? So we have a theme going on here, which means scary places happen in Arizona. You have the Newburgh Inn in Nazareth, Pennsylvania. For those of you out there, the Old Town Pizza in Portland, Oregon is a haunted watering hole. The Herringbone in La Jolla, California, well known for its haunts. Gadsby's Tavern, Alexandria, Virginia, a lot of history there. The Inn and Spa at Loretto, Santa Fe, New Mexico, and rounding out the top 11 most haunted watering holes, the White Eagle Cafe and Rock and Roll Hotel in Portland, Oregon. A regular at the hotel who stays in room 2 said his wife saw a lady flying around the room with a candelabra in her hand. You might be asking yourself, why am I giving you a list of haunted watering holes? Because, folks, didn't you know on Friday it's Halloween? Yeah! It's my favorite holiday where I can watch grown people over the age of 10 dress up like douchebags. Love it. Love it. How old are you people that's still dressing up for Halloween? When you're 12, that's it. Sorry. Stop it. Just stop with your dressing up. 216-220-0966. Angela Iverson, way too many sexy costumes. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Come on. Who you kidding? Let me talk to you about the longest-running sponsor of the show. Not familiar with the Barbecue Guru? Let me tell you about it. The little beauty. Keeps that pit running at a set temperature all the way through the cook. For instance, maybe you are like me, a busy working professional, or maybe you were like me, constantly on the run with kids doing errands. You just didn't have the time to set around and pretend that you wanted to set pet temperatures all the time by hand. Forget it. The Guru allows you to throw on a pork butt, a brisket, a couple slabs of ribs, and you're off to do whatever it is you need to get done, and the Barbecue Guru maintains that pit temperature you set it at. It's currently a couple different models to choose from. One of the most popular ones, the highest level, is the CyberQ Wi-Fi. The entry level is the Party Q. Party Q starting at $149 for most cookers. Easiest point of entry in a pit temperature control device. A self-contained package that runs on AA batteries and has recently got a facelift. This thing is absolutely spectacular. In the market for a cooker, look no further than the Onyx Oven. The Onyx Oven has been winning on the competition circuit as well as in backyards for many years now all over the country. It's a fully insulated unit, holds a ton of meat, accommodates half and full pans for food service, and works seamlessly with any of the Barbecue Guru pit temperature control devices. Do yourself a favor. Head on over to the Barbecue Guru, thebbqguru.com, and check out all their products. If you have any questions about what to order, call them directly. Don't guess. Call them 800-288-GURU. They will make sure you're outfitted with exactly what you need to get you up and running right out of the box. 800-288-GURU or thebbqguru.com. We are back with Steve Ray. Jack Daniles Revisions right after Tales and Regalia. We are back right after this. Stick around.
from the Barbecue Central Radio Network studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. 216-220-0966. Trusting your butcher, Dave Bosca, going as a mad butcher. Just a mask and an apron. No! My eyes! If anybody can pull it off, it's not Dave. Just kidding. Visit butcherbbq.com. Oh, damn it. I'm not going to be able to fix that now. I apologize. 216-220-0966. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. My next guest, a competitive barbecue cook, a businessman of sorts, and this past weekend, helping the Chattanoogian out by writing a number of stories during his time down in the holler at Lynchburg, Tennessee this past weekend. Let's go ahead and race over to the hotline and welcome in first-timer to the show, Steve Ray, joining us. Steve, how are you, bud?
Hey, Greg, what's up?
Oh, nothing. I appreciate you making time for the show. Have I caught you outside? And I don't want to alarm you, but there's a fire behind you. Oh, I know. Watch out.
No, it's just a beautiful night here in Tennessee. We built a fire down here in Ooltewah, and it's just really nice, really nice.
Yeah, I have to say, I've looked at the city name for like the last year and a half, and I'm like, man, how the hell do you say that name? So it's Ooltewah, right?
It's Ooltewah, Tennessee. Let me get you off here, man. I got too many people out here.
All right, so Steve, let me ask you something. You are, well, let's get a little background about yourself. I guess what you're into professionally, and then obviously you are into barbecue as well, a faithful Centralite, which I appreciate. But I guess how did you get into barbecue first and foremost, and I guess secondarily, what do you do on a day-to-day basis? Yellow.
My day job is yeah, I'm right here.
All right.
I'm right here. My day job, I own a service station here in Ooltewah, Tennessee. It's right outside of Chattanooga, just north of Chattanooga. And we've been there 31 years. And it's a mom and pop service station, just like the old timey ones. And a lot of fun working there. A lot of fun.
Do you race out when people pull up to the pumps and like do all the self-service stuff, like, or do all the full service stuff still, or is that like nowhere in existence anymore?
No, we have a couple of people that we still help. We pump so much gas, we had to put all the pumps on self-service. But we still have if they need help, older people, senior citizens, people that have a hard time getting gas, we run out there and we help them. I know my customers, and they know they can come there and get treated right.
Steve, what's the deal with gas? I mean, it's all over the place. I'm going off on a complete tangent, and I apologize, but I don't know anybody else that deals with gas except you. I go to the pump 3 weeks ago, and we're at $3.25, maybe $3.35 here in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city. I fill up today, we're at $2.90, which part of me wants to go, holy shit, what a great deal, except like 6 or 7 years ago, it was maybe $2.25 or whatever it was. What is going on with gas, and how can we fix this so we're back to like the $1.25 or $1.50 a gallon?
Yeah, well, in Ooltewah, we're $2.59.
What?
A gallon.
Oh,
yeah.
$2.59. I'm moving to Ooltewah, Steve. Here I come.
Come on, everybody else is too, Greg.
Yeah.
The thing that drives gas is really it was a function that was designed to lower prices for airline fuel, and it's on the futures market, and people trade. It's a commodity, reformulated unleaded gasoline is what it's called, and it's on the futures market. It's a commodity, and a lot of times you'll see people will jump out of the stock market. When the stock market drops, they'll run over to commodities. They'll buy gasoline, and you can literally sit at Panera Bread and manipulate the price of gas. The problem we have now, and it's not a problem, it's a good thing that we have started drilling oil in this country, and we've got so much now that there's a literal glut on the market, and it's the old thing where demand is not is less than the supply, and then that drives it down, and that's a good thing, and that's why we're seeing these cheaper prices. And man, I tell you what, Greg, I hope we see them, and I hope it I hope it goes down. I hope it goes down again. I was watching CNBC the other day, and they were trying to say why low gas prices were bad for the economy, but I just can't see it.
No,
I just can't see
absolutely it. Not. The lower the better for this guy, and we'll hope it continues to go down. All right, Steve. So apologize for the divergence there.
That's okay. I'm used to it.
Obviously, Tennessee is known for barbecue as well. I don't know if we call it a mecca yet, but steeped in tradition of barbecue and perhaps whiskey too, as you were partaking in nip there. How did you get bit by the barbecue bugs? Is that something you just grew up around in and continued on? Is that something you got in later in life? What's your deal?
No, Greg. 3 years ago, I didn't even know a barbecue contest existed.
Really?
And I had no idea. And I was on the couch chasing channels, and like a lot of people, came across Destination America, and they're running a pitmaster marathon, and I literally put the remote down and started watching it, and it amazed me. And I called my wife in the room. I said, watch this. I said, this is incredible. They're cooking. Of course, this was season 1, season 2, and I said they're cooking, and people are judging their food, and they're winning money. And I said, look at these festivals. And I was talking to some of my friends that come in the service station every morning, and I said, hey, have you seen this? And they go, yeah, we've seen that. And I said, well, there's one up in Cleveland, just up the road, Cleveland, Tennessee, actually. It is just 10 miles from Ottawa. And we got a team together, named it Owl's Nest BBQ, bought a smoker, and drove 10 miles up the road. And we just got, literally bit by the bug. We had a great time. Met Myron Mixon, met Johnny Trigg, met a lot of great people, nationally known, locally known. And I couldn't believe the sport. I just couldn't believe it.
Steve Ray joining us here on the show, pitmaster of Owl's Nest BBQ. Steve, when you get into it, getting into it 3 years ago, way different than it would be getting into it 13 years ago. Internet not as prolific as it is these days, nowhere near the amount of cooking class. You probably would have had to take Ray Lampe's cooking class, and that was probably the only guy doing cooking classes back then. Mm-hmm. How have you been able to, or what are the tools that you have used to ramp up your learning curve? And you've seen success in the 3 years that you've been doing this as well.
Yeah, we've gone to as many cooks as we can. We've all got those 3-letter word jobs that hold us back. In July, I went down to, I think it was June or July. Rub Bagby had a class down in Calhoun, Georgia, which is just 40 miles south of here, and I went to his class, and it was a great time. And it was funny. I heard Darren talking about Rub's sauce. He was giving it away to us, and it is a great sauce. We used it in a competition in Cleveland this year. We went back, and we did pretty good. And but Rub was great. Took all the time in the world for us, and I've just read a tremendous amount, Greg. Everything I can get my hands on, I've read every book, all the cookbooks, Myron's book, Bob Lilly's book, Mike Mills's book, anything that I can maybe, look to get an edge and to kind of emulate these fellas. We've tried to do that.
All right, so this weekend, as I'm sure you would love to have gone down as a competitor, the Jack Daniles, you went down. Did the Chattanoogian just hire you on as as a contractor to post stuff while you were down there?
Yeah, I'm what they call a stringer. John Wilson. It's a Chattanoogian.com here in Chattanooga. It's one of the first online newspapers in the United States. It's a fantastic newspaper, a fantastic place for information. I help John out when he has stories in Old Town, my little area of Chattanooga. I help him out gathering pictures and information. He was kind enough to let me use the Chattanoogian.com to get my press credentials, which the people at the Jack were just fantastic. Nikki and the girls that worked the public relations for Jack Daniles were great. And I wanted to go there, and I wanted to experience it, and I wanted to have I wanted to have everything that I wanted to see. I wanted to be able to walk in anywhere, and that press credential did that. And,
so,
man, we had a great time.
What kind of an agenda did you have set up? Did you consult people that had been down there a number of times, or did you consult other journalists or media types saying, I'm going to be down there for this number of days? What should I see, or what stories should I unfold or uncover while you're down there?
No, my degree is in journalism. I went to school at the University of Tennessee, as Michael McDermott and Mike McLeod also. I preceded them. Same school, school of journalism at UT. I was looking at an angle. I looked at the standings. One, Tim. I kind of likened it to a baseball playoff, a football race, a place where these three guys or four guys, top five guys, were in a points race, and they were all meeting at the same place because, so many times they go to different, they're not cooking against each other, but at this particular place at the Jack, they were cooking against each other, and I thought that was a great angle to look at. Was these guys are lining up, and they're going to, mano y mano, so to speak. And I picked Donnie to hang out with because I've met him a couple times, Donnie Bray with Warren County Pork Choppers. I met him a couple times and interviewed him a few times here in Knoxville at a competition we did. And of course he was number one, and that's why I kind of interviewed him and kind of hung around with him during on Saturday after the cook, getting his thoughts. Of course, Donnie finished 67th and not the best cook he's ever had. But that's kind of the angle I was taking.
Yeah, so I'm interested because you were able to hang with him and kind of get an insider's view or vantage point of, especially of his particular cook. As you said, here's a guy who's leading KCBS Team of the Year points race currently, finished second in a hotly contested Team of the Year race just the year before against True Bud Barbecue, ended up winning overall Team of the Year. When he has a 64th finish, how does he chalk that up? Were there things that he pointed to and said, yeah, this I didn't have the tenderness here, or the flavor wasn't here, or does he just chalk it up to the fact that unlike a lot of other competitions that he normally takes place in, the Jack is a different judging monster, and he attributes it to that?
No, I didn't get a chance to talk to him after the competition because the award ceremony goes on so long that I had to file my stories at the end of the ceremony. But I did spend about an hour and 15 minutes with him right after his cook. And what he said was interesting. He said this was his fourth competition at the Jack. His best finish ever was 9th. His highest call was 5th. And I asked him, I said, what have you done this year that differentiates between the other 3 years? He said, this year I'm taking it more seriously. And he said, not that I didn't, not that I was goofing off the last time. He said, but this year he really wanted it, and he really wants to win the points race for the KCBS. As a matter of fact, he said next to his family and his business, the KCBS points race is the most important thing to him right now. And Greg, I'm telling you, you could see it in his eyes. He is dead serious about that. And I didn't get a chance to talk with him after the competition because like I said, the contest lasts so late into the night and the award ceremony. But I'm sure he was disappointed. But he did say when I was talking with him before that if he didn't do well, that he wasn't going to let that scar him. That it was on to the next contest, and he is coming to Chatsworth, which is just 40 miles south of Chattanooga, on November 14th and 15th. And I heard that Tim was coming too. So what amazes me is this is kind of like the last major of the season. but they're not done. They're not done. They're not done cooking yet, and it's still, the points race should be great.
Steve Ray joining me here on the show, recapping the 2014 Jack Daniels as he saw it. Steve, some other things that really stood out to you, I guess, just in a general sense, as you get down into the holler, and things that you were like, wow, I didn't recognize that, or here's somebody I got to meet that I didn't expect to. Really positive things that you saw down there.
I didn't hear you, Greg, really well. You were kind of breaking up. Just repeat it real quick.
Yeah, just I guess maybe one or two other things here before the break. When you got down to the Jack Daniels, some things that jumped out to you as things that you didn't anticipate seeing, or somebody you got to meet that maybe you didn't anticipate meeting.
Well, the first thing I saw, Greg, is this venue is enormous, and I had no idea that it was going to be as spread out as it was. Donnie and Tim were like two cooks apart. Tuffy was there. He was like three cooks down from Donnie. And he's got a real closed cook, obviously, because he's so famous. I did get to spend a lot of time with David Bosca and his brother Martin, which is my favorite cook. I use David's products, Butcher Barbecue, in our competition team, and he and Martin were fantastic. And what I didn't know about Martin, I found out that Martin is a auto technician, just like I am. So that was kind of neat.
When you are looking and going up and down the whole venue and seeing all the teams that are there, do you earmark some people that you think might have a better shot at winning? Because I know you're following the competition season, and maybe you have some personal favorites as well, or because of this competition and the way it's typically set up, is it hard to pick out who you think, or is it hard to handicap an event like this? Maybe that's a better question.
Yeah, it is, and it is, and it's just like trying to handicap the Masters. I think this tournament, this Jack Daniels, is very, very similar to the Masters golf tournament. Matter of fact, the number of teams, 92 teams, is about the number of players that are invited to the Masters. Traditionally, the Masters golf tournament is the easiest golf tournament of the majors to win, because there's so few people and so many people are brought back, past champions. But in the case of the Jack, it's not like that, because everybody is cooking, and there are past champions there. But you have to prove yourself every year, and even if you win it, it's not an automatic. You don't get automatically invited back. So I think it's a tough one. I think the American Royals probably, like the PGA, if you want to, the PGA golf tournament, that there's so many people there, it's hard to win too. But the Jack, I think it's something special, and I really do. I would like to see barbecue competition. I think if we're going to cover it as writers, as journalists, and as talk show hosts and people that are interested in this, I think we need to. I think the Kansas City Barbecue Society, or whomever, needs to set up like these are the majors, and promote the people that have won these golf tournaments, or no, these barbecue tournaments, and say that these are the guys that have won the majors. And I think that would be an interesting way to go about it.
Steve Ray joining me here on the show. Steve, did you get a chance to interview Iowa Smokey D's after the win?
Oh, no way! You couldn't have gotten close to Darren and his wife. They were swamped. History Channel was there doing a special show. I really wasn't sure what the show. There's some sort of a pilot about barbecue, so I'm looking forward to seeing it. But they were mobbed, and I did get up there and I got some really good pictures. But you didn't have to interview Darren. They were just as happy as they could be. And the thing that they didn't tell you is that Darren and his wife won $10,000. So this wasn't a shabby, this is no shabby affair. It's some serious money changing hands there. Matter of fact, at this Jack Daniels cook-off tournament this year, the prize money went over $1 million since it started 26 years ago. Yeah, so they are over the $1 million mark. So it's headed in a big direction. It really is.
Steve, can I hold you over for one other short segment here for the break?
Absolutely.
All right. We will come back with Steve Ray. We'll talk a little bit more about the Jack Daniels and his time there. Let me talk to you quickly about the guy we were just talking about, Butcher Barbecue, Dave Bosca. That's right. If you're like me, always thinking about ways to step up the barbecue and grilling game, no better, no easier way to do that by adding a little Butcher Barbecue to your arsenal. Here's the website, ButcherBBQ.com. We all know Butcher's well known for the injections, the pork injection, the beef injection, the prime injection, the bird booster, now the open pit pork flavor injection, selling like hotcakes. These flavors have really become what most teams consider to be the competition standard in their respective categories. The beef, the pork, the chicken, available for sale right now at ButcherBBQ.com. Now, perhaps you're looking for the go-to rubs, the go-to sauces. Don't go to another website. Stay right here, ButcherBBQ.com, because they have a full line of award-winning rubs and sauces. For instance, the steak and brisket rub. My favorite rub, the honey rub, which is 50% of the North Coast offense. I've deemed it the North Coast offense. Some of Dave's honey rub, some of Big Papa Smoker's sweet money rub, and boom, you're off and running. The honey rub has garnered an awful lot of attention. You've seen Dave use it on the TV shows that he's been on. It's been widely acclaimed on the internet in years past as well, winning awards. If you use the premium rub, make sure that you inject with Butcher's because it's formulated to work with that injection, a perfect 1-2 punch to impress judges and friends alike. Last but not least, of course, that barbecue sauce, the sweet barbecue sauce. Look, when it comes to sauce, I'm as picky as it gets. Butcher's sweet barbecue sauce wins in every category for me. Not overly sweet, nice slice of tang, just right amount of back-end heat. For crying out loud, no liquid smoke. That's right, I said it. Dave took the time and effort to make quality sauce, and he didn't take the easy way out like most people do when they add the liquid smoke. Forget about it. Grab a box of 6. It's going to go quick. You'll thank me for it. Don't worry about breaking the bank on shipping either. Relax. Items totaling up to $55 ship at $8.55. I'm sorry, at $8.50. Between $55 and $200, ship at $9.75. Anything over $200 ships for $0.00. The easiest way, go to Butcher BBQ, get $200.01 worth of stuff, and have it shipped for you for free. Easy to do. Head on over to ButcherBBQ.com. Stock up now. That's ButcherBBQ.com. ButcherBBQ.com. Butcher's Barbecue. Always trust your butcher. According to Dave here in this chat, he also had a little FaceTime on that television thing. Good for you, Dave. Well deserved. We are back with Steve Ray right after this. Stick around.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs. And the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, we are back. By the way, 4th place at the Jack Daniels for his sauce, Butcher's Barbecue sauce. 4th place. Chris Lilly, I believe, won the sauce contest for Big Bob Gibson. So that sauce continuing to do well. I mean, I remember, oh my God. Actually, I don't remember how long ago it was, but I had an interview once with Chris Lilly of Big Bob Gibson's when he was talking about how him and Don McLemore came up with that red sauce that is continuing to win low these many decades after the fact. So congratulations to him, and most importantly, Dave Bosca for taking 4th overall in the sauce. Way to go. All right, Steve, welcome back, and thanks for hanging with me through the break there.
You bet.
I saw your story that you wrote running into or having some time with the legend, and I'm interested in getting your take on if that was the first time you ever met Mike Mills, and I guess what kind of a aura or energy he puts off. You know, someone like yourself who has been so anxious to know everything about the industry and the sport that we're so passionate about. A lot of people want to take the time to see kind of where it's all come from, and certainly Mike has played a huge role in the evolution of competition barbecue, also on the restaurant side of things as well. But what was your time like with Mike, and what did you find enjoyable about him?
Super gracious fella. He was one of the guest judges, and I shouldn't say guest judge. He was one of the judges. You know, how could how could he be a guest judge? He's the kind of guy, though, Greg. When he comes to the judges' table, the other 5 stand up, and admire his presence. Very, very gracious fellow. I caught him right outside the judges' tent. He was standing under a tree with one of his friends, and they were just sitting there talking. And I came up to him, introduced myself, and man, the conversation started. And one thing about everybody you run into, Mike Mills, David Bosca, Donnie, whether it's Tim, anybody you run into down there, if you start talking barbecue, they will sit and talk barbecue with you. It is that kind of a attitude down there. Is they love it. This isn't something that they do, just for the heck of it. They love it, and what I got from it is they live it. And Mike Mills still lives it. There was a gal there who had broke her leg that was a friend of his. And as we were talking, one of the officials from the Jack came over and meet somebody that wants to see you really badly. And he walked over there, and this lady, he saw her, and of course they immediately knew. And she had broken her leg. And the first thing he does is gets down there and reaches through a fence, because there's this like I guess it's like a cattle thing, and when it's not being used for barbecue, and reaches through there in a real awkward position and signs her cast for her without her even asking. And he was just great. I mean, he was just great. And that's what he said. He goes, that's why he comes back to all these competitions, is to keep it going and to, see all his friends. It really is like a big family reunion.
Steve, I talked with Darren Warth a little bit earlier, also Mike Richter, Grand Champ, Reserve Grand Champ, respectively. Yeah. And, both mentioned that they saw in the judges' tent, perhaps more than any year past at the Jack Daniels, that there were cooks in the judges' tent. Is that something that you also noticed perhaps more prevalently? And was that something that you heard bantered around the cooks' pits?
Yes, the best thing I heard was somebody came back. I think it was I think I was talking with Donnie, and somebody came back and he said, well, one good thing, Donnie, I didn't see anybody with a Miss Lynchburg thing on. So no beauty queens were judging. And, it was funny. Michael McDermott was there, and he's one of my favorite guys. And I've never had a chance to meet him yet, but he's over the Sam's Club. And I am desperately trying to get them to come to Chattanooga to our Sam's Club. We've got a great Sam's Club here in Chattanooga, and I'd love to make them, make us part of the tour. I went last year, they were in Knoxville, and they bypassed this area this summer. And I'd love for him to come to Chattanooga. And it was funny, and I didn't even know he was there. And I was going into the judges' tent, and there was this guy sitting on a bale of straw. And I thought, that looks just like Michael McDermott. And I walked on, and it was Michael McDermott, and I didn't even get a chance to talk to him. So, that's the situation you're in. You're just running into so many popular people, so many people that are important to the business side of barbecue, that I didn't even I thought, boy, it looks like him. Didn't even realize that he was there.
Steve, what's the ratio in your estimation between cooks or people that are involved with a team in some form or fashion and people that are foot traffickers or the foot soldiers or the patrons of this event?
You mean like the people that hang around a team, or just the people that like to come watch?
Yeah, I mean, would you say that 40% or 50% of the population that you saw there were involved in some type of a team, or would you say that the majority of people were just spectators and fans that were just coming down?
At the Jack, the majority of the people were just people that were just watching. It was incredible. The number one industry in Lynchburg on this weekend is parking. Everybody's hawking their parking lot. There's only 390 people that live in Lynchburg. And Greg, Lynchburg is when this is going on, it's
people. 390 people?
Yeah, that's all. Lynchburg is a wide spot in the road. I mean, it's nothing. If Jack Daniels wasn't there, Lynchburg would be. I mean, it would probably be unincorporated. I mean, Moore County is small in Tennessee, and there's a lot of places in Tennessee. And I'm not saying that to put them down. I mean, that's just the way it is down here. There's a lot of little where I live, Ottawa. It's an unincorporated area. It's just a little wide spot in the road. And Lynchburg is is just tiny. They've got the Jack Daniels, and I've been there before, and I've been to Miss Mary Bobo's. Everybody around here has been there. It's a great place. No big deal to go there. We're just used to it. And but they're like I said, parking is the number one industry. But when this thing's going on, man, I'm telling you what, they're you see license plates from everywhere. I'd say for every cook team there was there, I guarantee you there was 20 to 30 patrons just watching.
Wow.
So it's incredible.
Help me out with, and you said you've been to Miss Mary Bobo's, and I'm guessing because it's like, somewhere you go because you live there, not because you went there because of the Jack. But I've only heard about it because people say you go there when you go down to the Jack. Like, what's the deal with that? Why is it such a big deal?
Well, you go in there, it's family dining. You sit down at a table, and you might be sitting with people you don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's one in Cleveland, Ohio, just like that. We've got one here in Chattanooga that's like that. And I mean, every little town's got that. And it's just a special little place. And like Darren said, they tell you how long they've been there. It's like going to the Cafe du Monde. If you've ever been there in New Orleans, they brag about, it's the longest operating restaurant in North America, I think they say. So, it's just one of those little neat little places that are down here that everybody, flocks to. I think there's only one motel in Lynchburg, and of course it was full. We had to stay we stayed in Tullahoma, which is another small town, just 15 miles from Lynchburg.
The other thing that you always hear about is teams going up on the hill. Did you get a chance to get up on the hill and see the goings on there, or did you stay away from it?
No, that's on Friday night. I didn't get there until Saturday. I do a radio show on Saturday mornings here in Chattanooga on ESPN about car repairs and things like that. So I had to do my show, and then I went up. But I'm not really sure where the hill is. Lynchburg is terribly flat. That part of Tennessee is a terribly flat place. So I'm sure if it was up on the hill, it was only 25 or 30 foot above sea level. But I mean, it's probably just a party. I call them, I call them tournaments. A lot of places, a lot of people call them cook-offs, but every tournament's got a Friday night thing that they, after the cooks meeting, people get together and go to them. So, and it's a lot of fun. I'm sure they had a great time, but I like what Mike said. He's probably like me, the guy that finished second reserve grand champion. He didn't want to go there and start drinking and then mess up his cook, because I'm sure it could happen.
Oh, for sure. I think maybe the lure of the hill is that maybe it's outside of the county, and maybe you're not allowed to drink in the county or something like that.
I don't. Moore County, I think, is a dry county still. I know you can buy Jack Daniels, because when the last time we took a tour, you could buy it on the way out. It used to be that was the funny thing about Moore County. It used to be a dry county. You couldn't buy Jack Daniels there. But I tell you what, it was flowing on Saturday. Every trophy was a little trophy of Jack Daniels himself, and it had a little board on the side of it, and it had a little square cutout, and that's where they put the fifth of Jack. So everybody got a fifth of Jack Daniels that won a trophy.
Oh wow,
that was really neat.
I guess in your summation of the event, Iowa Smokey D's wins. Chix, Swine and Bovine comes in second. A lot of great teams finishing very well. Some of the teams that maybe expect tumble a little bit and finish towards the middle of the pack, but out of 92 teams, becomes somewhat of a crapshoot, especially given the history of how the judging goes, although it seemed to have been a little bit bitter this year. What was the overall reaction to some of the teams as everybody's kind of heading out? Did you grab anybody on the way out to get reaction and feedback from? And I guess what's it like? What's the anticipation coming in, and what do you see leaving Lynchburg?
Well, the one thing I took away from it, everybody was a lot happier with the judging. Now, I had never been before, so I don't know how the judging was, but I think they were more serious people. There weren't there wasn't Miss Moore County. It wasn't Miss Coffee County. Barbecue. It was knew and appreciated good food. One neat thing I did get to do with my press credentials, I got to roam judging, and I had never done that before at any contest. So I got to actually stand at the tables as the table captains were passing the boxes around, and as the judges were taking the food. And one thing that really amazed me as being a pitmaster and sweating over the boxes, how they look. They don't look at the boxes that long. It seemed to me that that they were looking for something that maybe was out of place. If everything looked normal, I saw a lot of 8s and 9s being written down. I didn't see any 7s, didn't see any 6s or anything like that. Really, that was kind of neat. The presentation of the boxes is that fast. I mean, they don't waste any time. They just move that thing right down the table, and the judges look at it, and then they move to start putting the food on the plank.
So as a competitor and seeing that, is that something that you're going to or that you have made a note about? And so the next competition, I mean, obviously you want to make sure everything's in place, but maybe you're not going to be spending 5 hours on each box. You might, cut that in half.
Yeah, we've gone from parsley to lettuce, and that was thanks to Rub Bagby. He showed us how to make a pretty nice box out of lettuce, and that was a big help. That cuts your box time down, Greg, from, I'm not kidding, 30 minutes to 3 minutes to 4 minutes per box. And that was a godsend for us. That was the biggest thing I took away from the school. One thing I did learn was the sauce on the ribs. We've been way off on our team. The ribs that I saw, and I did get to taste a lot of the competition food. I didn't know whose food I was tasting, but they brought a lot of the food back to the media area, and you got to pick. And I mean, I ate some pretty good ribs, but the sauce on the ribs was very thick. It was almost like a candy apple, and that's one thing that stuck out to me that I'm going to use in our future cooks. And we're going to be at Chatsworth too. I know Donnie's going to be there with Warren County Pork Choppers. I heard Tim's going to be there with True Bud, and we're looking forward to seeing them. And that's just in Chatsworth, Georgia, just is 40 miles south of here.
How many events do you see Owl's Nest BBQ doing next year? Is that something that you have to get together with the team with and not circumvent, but study everybody's individual schedule and go, okay, well, everybody's free this weekend, and we'll look to see where the competitions are? Or do you just do the ones that are kind of local around you? What's the day-to-day plan with that? And do you have any bigger team of the year type chase plans as well at some point?
Yeah. Not yet. We all have jobs. My friend Dan Grease, who's my fellow pitmaster in our barbecue team, he's a realtor. Roger Van Cleve, he's an accountant with a huge firm here in Chattanooga. He works for Unum Insurance Company. So we can't get away. This will be when we do Chatsworth, it'll be I think it's our 8th event this year, and that's coupled with a few local events, a few People's Choice events too. But we love it, Greg, and if we could do 25, we would do 25. But at our age and in our space in life right now, it would be impossible to. But we just do what we can. We try to stay within 150 miles. Marietta is really as far as we've gone. That's the whole hog happening, and that's a real good event. It's a growing event. Marietta's a wonderful venue, and Greg, I wish you'd come down. I know you don't compete, and you haven't. I listen to you all the time, and you say you don't want to, but I tell you what, it's fun getting your butt whipped week after week.
No,
Believe me, we're good at it.
I like to go to the competitions and hang out with everybody and eat all the food. Yes, I like that part. But I honestly don't. I mean, if I'm going to spend $600, I'll do it in the backyard. I'll cook up a whole bunch of barbecue. Everybody will tell me they'll love it, and it'll be great instead of going down and having all you guys kick my ass all over weekend. I mean, come on. I go to win. That's it.
I tell you, we had two 35th place finishes in a row, and it was kind of funny. We said that we own 35. If 36, if you want to get to 34, you got to come through Owl's Nest BBQ. And we finally got a comment note. on some of the judges give little comment cards. We got one in Marietta, the first one we ever got, and I think it was a lady, because you could tell the handwriting looked like a lady, and she said she gave our chicken a 5 in taste. And I've never seen a 5. I mean, that was like, wow. And she said it had an undistinguishable taste. It didn't taste like chicken. And I looked at my buddies. I said, everything tastes just like chicken.
Yeah, even frog legs,
except our chicken.
Yeah.
So we're going to change meat companies. We're going to try to find some thighs that taste like chicken next time.
Well, probably a good idea. Get the chicken that tastes like chicken. Steve Ray is the pitmaster for Owl's Nest Barbecue. Steve, do you guys have a website or anything you want to pass out tonight?
No, we're on Facebook, but Midnight Oil Steve Ray is my main Facebook page. That's my service station. We put all of our barbecue stuff on that.
All right, and much appreciated, by the way, when you scroll the show banner stuff on the sign out there, man. That's awesome.
Oh, it's fun. We're big fans, Greg. I tell you, I Googled. I knew somebody out there had to have a radio presence about barbecue, and I Googled it. Yours came up, and that was about a year and a half ago. And we've been faithful listeners. If we don't catch it live, we always watch it during the week. And you do a fantastic job for this industry. A great deal of thanks for keeping it in the forefront. And I mean, man, you get the guests. I mean, you've had them all. I mean, from Myron on to Tuffy to Melissa. You cover the Pitmaster show, but you also cover Darren. And I know Darren's been on television a couple of times. And but you cover everybody, and I as a person that is a fan of barbecue and a fan of this industry, we appreciate you.
I appreciate you saying that, Steve. Continued success, and we'll talk soon, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right, there he is, Steve Ray. Midnight Oil, baby. Yeah, that's right. All right, that's gonna do it for this show this evening. All the way back in the first hour, we had the grand champion of the Jack Daniles 2014 competition, Darren Warth, Iowa Smoky. Boom. Then, following him, we had the reserve grand champion of the 2014 Jack Daniels, Mike Richter of Chix, Swines and Bovines. Second hour, 2 segments worth of Steve Ray recounting the Jack Daniels, how he got into competition barbecue as well. Always interested in hearing how people get into the barbecue deal and how they follow it down there. Giving props to Rub Bagby and then sponsor of the show, Dave Bosca. Boom. Learning curve, baby. Learning curve. Next week, you will find the first week of November in full swing, and of course the first week of every month brings Hall of Fame, pitmaster, celebrity, TV show hosts, and on this show, the Ask Dr. Barbecue segment, Ray Lampe will be joining us amongst a host of others. So I will tell you this, if you have raw cast iron, season it each and every time. As it then starts to cool down, hit a little brush, then a little Pam, a little Crisco, let it burn back in. Generations of rust-free service. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about. Also, September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Till next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.